Our story begins in Zhongshan City, amidst devastation everywhere. Following a volcanic eruption and an earthquake, the city is in chaos. The government is urging people to evacuate peacefully. People are really frustrated and wondering. Just a few days ago, an underwater earthquake and the eruption of Mount Fuji resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of people. Now, unexpectedly, they too must evacuate. One woman is particularly worried because she left in such a hurry that she didn't bring anything. She plans to buy supplies in Jiangnan City. However, a man next to her asks if she hasn't seen the news, explaining that the goods in the Walmart and Ali warehouses in Jiangnan City have all been moved. Another man, upon hearing this, replies that this is old news. Today, Dongming Lake in Shencheng dried up, and the Darundong warehouse was emptied too. Shocked by this revelation, the woman realizes the total value of these supplies is probably in the hundreds of billions. Suddenly, she hears a voice saying that the total value of these supplies should actually be in the tens of trillions. He is our protagonist, who explains that the loss of supplies and various natural disasters are just the surface. He urges them to open their eyes and see that the end of the world is coming. Upon hearing this, the woman asks our protagonist if he is joking. The man sitting with him starts laughing at our protagonist, asking if he is kidding. If it's really the end of the world, I'm actually looking forward to it. That's when all living beings are equal. Our protagonist does not look happy, because even at the end of the world, there is no equality for all living beings. He has personally experienced this. In his previous life, he was just an ordinary delivery man. Then, the apocalypse descended due to the abnormal release of solar energy, causing atmospheric temperatures to rise sharply and frequent crustal movements. Monsters hidden underground also emerged. The whole world changed. A new world, a new order. In that world of extreme scarcity, even a packet of instant noodles or a slice of ham sausage was a luxury. You had to give up everything for them. Our protagonist was reborn a month before the apocalypse. A beautiful lady approached him, expressing her fear and asking for comfort. However, our protagonist, being a Sigma male, had more important things to do. In the apocalypse, what's most important? Supplies. In his last life, he wasted time searching for supplies. But this time, he must be prepared in advance. His boss was furious because he was 21 seconds late for work and deducted half a day's of his salary. Su Chen asked for forgiveness as he went into the warehouse. However, our protagonist didn't care. In his last life, when the apocalypse came, the boss ran away in advance, and his annual salary went down the drain. So he decided to take these supplies as compensation for himself. He opened his dimensional inventory to store all the supplies. Suddenly, a system notification popped up. Detecting rice, cooking oil, meat, automatically storing. This is his power, spatial ability. As long as he unfolds this ability, he can put everything around him into a super-large cubic space, with dimensions of 10,000 meters in length, width, and height according to his will. This provides great convenience for obtaining supplies at no cost. Relying on this ability, he dried up 2 freshwater lakes and plundered several cities destined to be destroyed in the apocalypse. In these times, even a packet of instant noodles is a luxury, not to mention fresh food. And in his dimensional storage, time is frozen. Food remains fresh no matter how long it is kept. Suddenly, he started crying, overwhelmed by the thought, "Finally, I don't have to eat dirt in the apocalypse like I did in my previous life." After regaining composure, he opened his inventory to check the supplies he had harvested this time. Having collected so many resources, he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. However, his peace was short-lived, as other people arrived at the warehouse to move the goods out, but were shocked to find it empty. They questioned Su Chen about where all the supplies. Su Chen doesn't give it sit about them. Say that, he took everything. The manager was puzzled and wondered how Su Chen had managed this. However, catching Su Chen was his top priority. So he ordered his team to apprehend him. Meanwhile, Su Chen opened his dimensional door and stepped inside, mocking his manager by saying he wouldn't be late anymore. Everyone was shocked and puzzled about where Su Chen had disappeared to. Outside the building, Su Chen utilized his second ability, Space Jump. With this power, he could teleport within a 3-meter radius. This ability was invaluable in the apocalypse, allowing him to enter abandoned buildings for supplies and escape safely even when confronted by mutant beasts. Declaring his job done and his zero-cost shopping mission complete, Su Chen prepared for the apocalypse with these newfound resources. Just then, his phone rang. The notification stated that the Earth was experiencing intense geological movements and localized natural disasters were likely, but these were manageable and should not affect daily life. The message urged people not to panic excessively. However, Su Chen knew better. The official statement was just to prevent panic, but he was aware that the end was near. His phone rang again, this time displaying his girlfriend Zhang Xiaoqian, who had betrayed him in the previous apocalyptic world. Despite his anger at seeing her name, Su Chen calmed himself and answered the call. She accused him of disappearing and selling their house without her knowledge. "Do you think you can find a woman willing to be with you after selling the house? What about your responsibility as a man?" she challenged. Despite her claims of indifference towards the house, she insisted that giving her the house as a gift was the only way she could feel secure with him. Su Chen, however, remained unmoved by her demands. He asked her if she had anything else to say. Upon hearing this, Zhang Xiaoqian became very angry and snapped at Su Chen. "What's your attitude? I'll give you another chance. Come back now and transfer the ownership to me, or don't even think about marrying me." But Su Chen didn't care. He told her he was on his way back to Shangdu, and they would talk when he got back. He was really angry. In his previous life, they had spent 5 years in the apocalypse. He had searched everywhere for supplies to feed her, and even brought her into a safe zone. If it weren't for him, she would have starved to death during the apocalypse. Yet she betrayed him and killed him. Not just that, she slept with someone else in front of him, blaming him, saying his death was because he was incompetent. He felt deeply wronged in his past life. He had actually entrusted his trust and life to such a person. But this time, both Wang Haoyu and Zhang Xiaoqian would pay the price. He made up his mind. He wouldn't kill them easily. He wanted them to experience the pain he had endured. 100, 1,000 times over. However, he calmed himself down, thinking about the future. He couldn't steal everything. The remaining things could only be bought with money. But first, he needed to figure out how to get the money. So he called Manager Liu, accepting his offer to sell his house at half price. But he wanted cash, and he wanted it now. Sometime later, in front of Dream Real Estate, Su Chen's girlfriend, Zhang Xiaoqian, and Wang Haoyu were waiting for him. When Su Chen got out of the taxi, Zhang Xiaoqian told him that she had been waiting for him for quite a while. However, Su Chen didn't care about her, and told her to move aside. But Wang Haoyu interrupted Su Chen, demanding, "Who let you sell the house? Dare to sell my house, and I'll make sure you won't see the sun tomorrow." Wang Haoyu tried to threaten Su Chen. However, Su Chen didn't care. He grabbed Wang Haoyu by the neck and lifted him into the air, then threw him forcefully to the ground. He warned Wang Haoyu that he could handle his affairs however he wanted. Zhang Xiaoqian asked Su Chen, "What are you doing?" and pleaded with him to let her brother go as she started shouting for help. However, Su Chen didn't care and slapped her, leaving Zhang Xiaoqian in shock, wondering how he could do such a thing. Meanwhile, Wang Haoyu begged for forgiveness, asking Su Chen to let him go. Su Chen, seeing him in this state, started smiling and said, "Don't worry, you won't die too quickly." He then released him and went into the building. After that, Zhang Xiaoqian checked on Wang Haoyu and demanded that Su Chen kneel down and apologize to him quickly. Otherwise, he could forget about marrying her in this lifetime. When Su Chen turned his head towards them, they became terrified and started running, threatening Su Chen that they would get revenge for what he did to them. However, in Su Chen's eyes, they were just worthless. Inside the dream real estate building, the manager told Su Chen that he would buy his house and pay him in cash. For the manager, it was the best deal, a house worth over $1 million, and this foolish guy was selling it for $700,000. He could make a profit of several $100,000 with a quick turnaround. Su Chen agreed, but on the condition that the manager made the full payment today. The manager agreed and suggested they sign the contract and transfer the money immediately, with the transfer of ownership to be completed the following Monday. Su Chen agreed, knowing that in the apocalypse you could choose any house you liked, as long as you dared to live in it. After receiving his payment, he left Dream Real Estate. Although various disasters were occurring, life in Chengdu, located in the inland central plains, was still orderly due to its distance from earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions, plus the officials' efforts to debunk any chaos. But suddenly, he noticed an advertisement for a high-interest loan, so he called the number asking if this was the loan company, and if he could mortgage his property with a property certificate. They agreed and asked him to come to Hanhai International. Later, Su Chen reached Great Sea Loans Limited Company to secure a quick loan. However, the value of Su Chen's house seemed not to be much. Su Chen then asked how much he could borrow. But upon seeing the representative, Su Chen remembered that this man was Wang Haoyu's older brother, Wang Dahai, who had died in the mouths of mutant beasts in the previous life. Wang Dahai stated that he could buy the house for at most $500,000, but he would need to keep the property certificate first. However, Su Chen didn't agree, demanding an additional $100,000, and he wanted it immediately. He reassured Wang Dahai that he didn't need to worry, as he would make a profit from this deal and pay him back immediately. Upon hearing this, Wang Dahai wondered if Su Chen was a gambler. Nonetheless, he didn't care. As long as he was involved, he was willing to do anything for a profit, even sell his own parents. He considered whether Su Chen was foolish, thinking he could turn things around in a single day. Wang Dahai replied that as long as he mortgaged the property certificate with the company, everything else was negotiable. He then transferred 600,000 yuan into Su Chen's account. Meanwhile, outside the building, Jiang Xiaoqian justified her actions, saying she was just taking back her own house, and questioned what was wrong with that. She was outraged that Su Chen had laid hands on her and insisted he must pay the price. Wang Haoyu also expressed a desire to kill Su Chen and mentioned getting his big brother to do it. Suddenly noticing Su Chen, Jiang Xiaoqian pointed him out to Wang Haoyu, asking if that was him. Wang Haoyu confirmed it was, and expressed curiosity about what Su Chen was doing there. Jiang Xiaoqian suggested they follow him to see what he had been up to these days. Sometime later, Su Chen reached the Green City Hotel. In his memory, many commercial buildings had collapsed under the impact of seawater backflow and rapid freezing and severe cold. But the Green City Hotel had withstood various natural disasters until the end. He heard the presidential suite was well equipped, even featuring a swimming pool, and thought it might be a good idea to use this place as a base. Living here for a long time wouldn't be bad. Although many warehouses had been emptied before, there was no shortage of hot meals and ingredients. Suddenly, a beautiful woman approached Su Chen, introducing herself as the hotel restaurant manager, Liu Xinrui, and asked how she could assist him. Su Chen replied that he wanted to order 1,000 tables for a banquet, and inquired if they could accommodate that. Manager Liu was shocked after hearing such a large number of orders, but managed to control her expression and confirmed they could. She explained they had options for 5,000 per table, 10,000 per table, and even 30,000 to 100,000 per table, and asked Su Chen which option he wanted to order. Curious and impressed by his grand demeanor, she wondered if this young man might actually be a hidden second-generation rich. Su Chen responded, "Then let it be 10,000 per table, totaling 10 million. He agreed to pay a 50,000 deposit and asked for the delivery to the address he provided, with the balance to be settled a week later. However, he wondered if the Green City Hotel met such high standards. Manager Liu became nervous after hearing about the 50,000 deposit, since just the cost of ingredients was estimated to be 50,000. But she knew connecting with wealthy clients was worthwhile. The most important thing in business is to learn to adapt, she thought. So she agreed, and asked Su Chen to make the payment there. Afterward, Manager Liu asked him how she should address him. Su Chen replied that she could call him by his name. Curious, Manager Liu asked if he was getting married. Su Chen confirmed it was for his wedding, and also asked her to help him book a presidential suite. After completing his tasks, he left the hotel feeling elated, having settled a 10 million worth of dishes with just a 50,000 deposit. And the final payment? In the scorching post-apocalyptic world, a block of ice could be worth billions. Inside the hotel, Manager Liu speculated if this was a booking for a honeymoon. She mused that whoever was marrying him was truly fortunate. Jiang Xiaoqian and Wang Haoyu, listening from behind the door, approached Manager Liu and asked about the person who had just been there. When Manager Liu inquired who they were, Jiang Xiaoqian explained that she was Su Chen's girlfriend. Manager Liu revealed that her boyfriend had ordered a banquet for 1,000 tables and paid a 50,000 deposit, remarking, "Having a boyfriend like him, you're truly fortunate." Surprised, Manager Liu thought, despite Jiang Xiaoqian being only a 7 at best, her temperament surpassed even her own. Why do wealthy people always like these types? She wondered. Upon hearing this, Jiang Xiaoqian and Wang Haoyu were shocked, questioning whether Su Chen really had the money for a 10 million banquet. Manager Liu explained that wealthy people often play the game of hiding their identity, fearing their partners might be after their money, and usually reveal it only on the day of the wedding. Jiang Xiaoqian then asked if, before getting married, they might suddenly resort to emotional withdrawal and coldness. Wang Haoyu, astonished, thought, "That sycophant, that Su Chen, is he really wealthy?" Manager Liu affirmed, recalling the transaction of 50,000. Later, outside of the hotel, Wang Haoyu asked Jiang Xiaoqian about the guest list for a 1,000-table banquet at a 5-star hotel. Jiang Xiaoqian laughed, saying, "Don't you get it? Of course he wants to introduce me to their wealthy circle and then reveal his identity." Wang Haoyu came close to Jiang Xiaoqian and asked her what they should do now. She explained that they needed to take the initiative and create opportunities for this bootlicker. She started to feel really happy, thinking she had never imagined such a scenario in her life. Unexpectedly, it had to happen with Su Chen, that bootlicker. Meanwhile, Su Chen at his home thought about his finances, selling the house for 700,000, taking out a high-interest loan of 600,000, and spending 500,000 on the banquet. But during his zero-cost shopping spree, stealing, many essential items were not acquired. Even though only the deposit was paid, the remaining 800,000 was not much for him. However, he had a great idea at this point. If he didn't take out an online loan, it would be a waste. So next, Su Chen downloaded more than 80 apps at once, took selfies 30 times, and managed to secure loans totaling 970,000 yuan. After that, he became really tired, but there was no time to waste. There were still many things he had to buy. So he took his phone and started searching for fireplaces, ice makers, ice blocks, and smokeless coal. Things he couldn't buy in supermarkets, but could fortunately purchase online with fast delivery. After the extreme heat and severe cold, whether he could get through it or not depended on having enough of these resources. So he called the coal company and asked them about the current rate for smokeless coal. They replied that smokeless coal was 2,501 yuan per ton. Su Chen explained that he needed 2,000 tons of smokeless coal. The price was acceptable to him. He would pay them a deposit of 500,000 yuan first, and the remaining amount would be paid after receiving the goods. After that, he called the ice factory to order ice blocks. However, they wanted to discuss the details face to face. Su Chen agreed, saying he would meet them in person. Moments later, as Su Chen was heading toward the ice factory, he unexpectedly met Lina and Jiang Xiaoqian. Lina asked Su Chen where he had been, mentioning that Xiaoqian had been missing him. After seeing Li Na, Su Chen remembered that she was the one who always criticized his close friend behind his back and had allowed Jiang Xiaoqian to occupy his house. Su Chen asked her why she was missing him. Was it because of his house? Upon hearing this, Li Na became really nervous and said that Xiaoqian was just testing him before. Why was he so clueless? She explained that Xiaoqian was really sad and had been missing him. Xiaoqian came close to Su Chen and grabbed his hand, asking if he could accompany her for a walk as she wasn't feeling very well. She asked for forgiveness for scolding him the previous day. Please don't be mad at me. However, Su Chen didn't care about her. He freed his hands and started walking away, saying that he had something to do today and she should go ahead and stroll by herself. Xiaoqian was surprised and wondered what was going on with him and why he was acting so arrogantly. Then she saw Su Chen taking a taxi and urged herself to hurry up and follow him, thinking this must be the final test for her. Moments later, Su Chen reached the Ronghua ice factory, where he met with the manager, Mr. Wu. Mr. Wu was surprised to see that Su Chen was a young man. Su Chen mentioned to Mr. Wu that the details had been discussed over the phone, but he was curious about how long it would take to produce 2,000 tons of edible ice. Mr. Wu explained that their ice factory didn't boast about anything else, but when it came to efficiency, they were definitely the best. He asked Su Chen to give them 3 days to complete the 2,000 tons of edible ice at 400 yuan per ton, totaling 800,000 yuan. Su Chen agreed and said he would transfer 100,000 yuan as a deposit, and instructed them to deliver it to the address he provided in 3 days. Mr. Wu assured him that they would deliver it safely. Curious, Mr. Wu asked Su Chen why he needed so much ice and if there was a large-scale event, suggesting that they could cooperate again in the future and that the price was negotiable. Su Chen replied that he planned to donate it to Alishan for charity. Mr. Wu was confused by this, but was happy that an 800,000 yuan deal was settled at the entrance. Suddenly, another car stopped in front of Mr. Wu's ice factory. It was Li Na and Xiaoqian. Xiaoqian asked Mr. Wu if Su Chen was her fiancé and what they were discussing just now. Mr. Wu, confused about why Mr. Su's fiancé was here and what kind of act this was, didn't care much, and explained that Mr. Su had just ordered ice worth 800,000 yuan from them. Both women were shocked, confirming that Su Chen was a rich second generation, a super rich second generation. Li Na asked Mr. Wu if Su Chen had told him what he was going to do with so much ice. Mr. Wu replied that Mr. Su said he was donating it to Alishan for charity. After hearing this, Li Na and Xiaoqian were really confused and wondered what this meant. Meanwhile, after purchasing all the items, Su Chen wanted to enjoy a really good meal before the apocalypse. In his last life, he was too busy working, not to mention going to fancy restaurants. Even going to a small cafe was a luxury. So he opened the menu and started reading. Butter chicken, naan, smoked steak, nature's juice. Truly a high-end restaurant with an average spending in 4 digits. However, suddenly he noticed something weird on the menu and wondered what it meant. Selling a question mark for 17,000 yuan. The waiter, who was standing near him, explained that this was a dish personally crafted by the head chef of their Yalin music restaurant. Su Chen became really interested in this dish when he heard that the specific details depended on the chef's inspiration. He asked the waiter to prepare it. In his last life, at the beginning of the apocalypse, a strange force caused many creatures to mutate. The monstrous serpent mentioned in the Shanhai Jing, fantastic creatures of the mountains and seas, which appeared in the midst of floods, resembled the mutated serpent he encountered in his previous life. However, he preferred to call it atavism, a phenomenon where an ancestral genetic trait reappears after having been lost through evolutionary changes in previous generations. Suddenly, a beautiful woman appeared in front of Su Chen. She was the head chef of Yalin music restaurant, Duanya, known as the Hell's Chef. This dish was specially tailored for Su Chen based on his temperament. Surprised to see her, Su Chen recognized her from his previous life's apocalypse, where she possessed magical culinary skills that could turn decay into food, a talent no one could resist. Duanya noticed Su Chen's expression and asked, "What's with that expression? Are you afraid that such a beauty would poison the food?" She explained that the dish, called Dual-Faced Life, featured one side of tuna fried in brown butter and the other deep-fried in puff pastry, offering two different flavors that left a lasting impression. After tasting the dish, Su Chen was really impressed. The taste was excellent, and the 17,000 yuan he paid felt worth it. However, he wondered if only she could cook for him in the apocalypse, but then dismissed the thought, questioning if she might poison the food. Meanwhile, Xiaoqian and Li Na were secretly watching Su Chen. Li Na said to Xiaoqian, "I heard that each dish in this restaurant costs over 10,000. Your husband must be a second-generation rich kid. Once you become a rich wife, don't forget your sisters. I'm almost bitten to death by mosquitoes." Xiaoqian replied confidently that she didn't have to worry. She would definitely become a rich wife and treat him really well. After finishing his dinner, Su Chen went to the golden sales vault of Chengdu. He remembered how some rich kid had spent 2 million here and hadn't even seen what abalone looked like. But in the apocalypse, there wouldn't be such places of extravagance. He regretted not entering such a place in his last life. Suddenly, a girl asked Su Chen why he wasn't drinking and if there was any problem. Su Chen said no and started drinking. However, he noticed the girl sitting next to him looked really sad and asked her what happened. The girl explained that her name was Yunyun and it was her first time here. Her boyfriend cheated on her, so her friends brought her out to have some fun. Yunyun explained that her boyfriend cheated with an older woman and commented on his lack of taste. She then asked Su Chen if all men are really just concerned with sleeping with women. Su Chen replied that a real man's nature is driven by reproductive desires. After hearing this, Yunyun downed her drink in one gulp and asked Su Chen if he was single. She got closer to him, flirting and asking if he wanted to have some fun. Yunyun's friends cheered her on, telling her, "That's the way to go, Yunyun. That scumbag isn't even worthy of you. Be brave and go for it." Lina and Xiaoqian followed Su Chen further into the club. However, they were shocked to see Su Chen with another girl, wondering if he was cheating. Su Chen suggested to Yunyun, "Let's go outside," and held her hand, leading her upstairs. Xiaoqian called out to Su Chen to stop, but it was already too late. Su Chen had taken Yunyun into a room and locked the door. Su Chen apologized for the interruption caused by the two. Yunyun, not really listening, said it was her first time. Su Chen, trying to be responsible, tapped Yunyun on the forehead and asked if she was drunk. He also advised her not to go out these days, to stock up on food at home, and mentioned that love-brained people shouldn't come to places like this. In the future? Forget it. There is no future, he mused. But Su Chen knew that it was rare to have such an opportunity. Leaving like this felt like a waste. But with the two women around, his chances for the night were gone. The next day at Su Chen's place, the items he had ordered arrived. The delivery man asked Su Chen, "Where should these 20 large fireplaces be placed?" Another one questioned him about the lack of a refrigerated room in the warehouse, expressing concern that the ice might melt. Su Chen directed them to move the fireplaces and ice makers to the innermost part of the warehouse and instructed the workers not to block the entrance. "Put the ice blocks here. Just keep moving," he said, as people started gathering around his warehouse. Suddenly, Wang Haoyu came to Xiaoqian and told her Su Chen rented a large warehouse in the suburbs and bought a lot of large machines. They are currently being moved into the warehouse. However, Xiaoqian was really confused and didn't know exactly what Su Chen was up to. Meanwhile, Lina noticed something and pointed out to Xiaoqian, "Look at this! Isn't this a banquet setup from the Green City Hotel? The red carpet is even laid out. Do you think he might suddenly propose to you, and then guests will come from all directions?" After seeing this, Xiaoqian became really confident and said, "Even if Su Chen proposes, I might not accept." She asked Lina to accompany her to see Su Chen's sincerity. When they approached Su Chen, Xiaoqian asked him, "Why are you buying so many things? What's going on?" Su Chen responded, "If you can help me move things, I'll tell you after we're done." Hearing this, Xiaoqian thought, "Don't joke around. I'm going to become a rich lady. How could I possibly do such rough work? Lina came close to her and said, "This must be a test for you, to see if you qualify to become a rich lady." After that, Xiaoqian agreed to help Su Chen, saying, "I'm not that kind of delicate woman. To become a rich lady, one must be well-rounded. As long as I can withstand the test, Su Chen will definitely marry me today." Lina also wanted to help Su Chen, thinking, "Which second-generation rich isn't lustful? As long as I show a little, even if I can't become a rich lady, I can at least have a sip of the soup." Su Chen, who was really happy, couldn't let the free labor go to waste. With 1,000 tables of food and 2,000 tons of ice, even if the hotel and suppliers sent people, it would still take a long time to move everything. After moving items from morning to evening, they finally finished. Exhausted after working all day, Xiaoqian complained, "Su Chen is really too much. We've been moving things from morning to evening without even a meal. If I'm going to be a rich lady, I'll definitely make all his money mine." Lina also complained, saying, "This jerk actually made us move such heavy things." The ice blocks weighed over 100 pounds each. However, Xiaoqian was really confused and wondered if the test was over. "Shouldn't Su Chen announce that I am the bride now? The wealthy guests should be appearing," she thought. Lina agreed, puzzled. "The food is getting cold, and the guests don't seem to mind. Rich people are really strange." Su Chen thanked all the delivery men for their hard work that day and asked them to accept a small token of appreciation. He promised to settle the remaining funds within a week, according to the contract. The delivery men were surprised at the thickness of the red envelope. At least 10,000. They were really happy and thanked Su Chen for everything. Meanwhile, Xiaoqian approached Su Chen and asked if he had something else to tell her. After hearing her, Su Chen thanked her for helping with the work, but informed her that there was no pay for her, so he asked her to leave. Hearing this, Xiaoqian urged Su Chen to stop joking around. "You must have a surprise. The guests must be coming. Let's get married and live a good life," she said. Su Chen responded that he also wished to live a good life, but now not only had he sold the house, but he also owed a ton of debt. He asked Xiaoqian if she would still be willing to be with him. Lina was surprised, saying, "Impossible? With over 10 million on this banquet, tens of thousands in restaurant expenses, and all these things, how could he be broke?" Su Chen explained that there was a big boss who wanted to do a good deed, so he helped out. They wanted to bring people to the Alashan Poverty Alleviation Project. After hearing this, Xiaoqian became furious and attacked Su Chen, accusing him, "You jerk! You've been lying to me all along!" However, Su Chen dodged that and asked Xiaoqian what he had lied to her about. Xiaoqian, lying on the floor and still very angry, retorted, "If you're not a second-generation rich at all, you can forget about marrying me." But Su Chen didn't care about a gold digger like her. Xiaoqian was furious after hearing this, stood up, and before leaving warned Su Chen, "Just wait, I'll make you regret this." Lina also warned that she would make him regret it. However, in Su Chen's eyes, they were a bunch of idiots. In the apocalypse, they would be the ones regretting. Su Chen then went inside the warehouse and locked the door from inside. He is relieved that, finally, all the supplies and resources are ready. Now, he just has to wait for the apocalypse to descend. So, he opens his infinite storage and stores all the supplies in his dimensional storage. Moments later, at the Greentown Wine Hotel, the one who gave Su Chen a high-interest loan asks Xiaoqian to follow Wang Haoyu in the future and promises her a good life in Shangdu, asserting that his words still carry some weight. Wang Haoyu tells Xiaoqian that Su Chen treated her poorly and that she should have dumped him a long time ago and instead been with him. Xiaoqian blushes, saying she knows that and is looking forward to his performance. Wang Haoyu assures Xiaoqian that she doesn't have to worry, as he will ask his big brother to take care of that guy and also get revenge for her. Xiaoqian thinks to herself that Wang Haoyu isn't bad, and besides, his big brother is quite wealthy in Shangdu. Being with him is better than being with that bootlicker. But suddenly, Su Chen, overhearing, comments from behind her, "This woman really isn't picky." Xiaoqian is shocked to see Su Chen and asks him what he is doing here. Upon seeing Su Chen, Wang Haoyu tells his big brother, "It was this guy earlier who hit me." Mr. Hai, recognizing Su Chen, had been planning to find him, but didn't expect Su Chen would dare to touch his little brother, wondering if he had some nerve. Curious, Wang Haoyu asks his big brother if he knows Su Chen. Mr. Hai explains that Su Chen mortgaged his house to him before, and borrowed 600,000 yuan, with tomorrow being the repayment day. Wang Haoyu excitedly says that he will settle old and new scores together. Xiao Qian tells Li Na he even dared to borrow money from Brother Hai. I'm afraid he won't be able to clear the debt in this lifetime. Luckily, I didn't get involved with him. Li Na agrees, saying that borrowing money like that, he really doesn't know his place. Su Chen, hearing this, remarks that he can't even enjoy a good meal peacefully. However, Mr. Hai approaches Su Chen, stating that he has to repay the money by tomorrow at any cost, and here he is enjoying himself in the hotel. Do I look like a joke to you? Don't bother, even if you can arrange 600,000 by tonight. Wang Haoyu, furious, tells his big brother that Su Chen won't be able to give them a damn thing and not to waste time with him. This useless guy dared to lay hands on me. Let's finish him. But luckily, Manager Lu intervenes and asks Mr. Hai what's going on here, suggesting they talk it out. Mr. Hai agreed to talk it out at Manager Lu's suggestion. However, he demanded that Manager Lu make Su Chen kneel down and apologize to him and his brother before they could consider the matter settled. Manager Lu approached Su Chen and asked, "What's going on here?" Su Chen responded, "Don't worry, just a few pests barking." Mr. Hai became really angry after hearing this and told Su Chen, "I have been giving you face, but this is too much. I will finish this today, and even the heavens won't be able to help you." But suddenly, someone intervened and asked Mr. Hai, "What are you doing? Who allowed you to cause trouble here?" Mr. Hai and Su Chen were both surprised to see this man, whose name is Gao Qiang, the manager of the hotel. Mr. Hai became very polite and asked Gao Qiang, "What are you doing here?" Gao Qiang replied that he had important matters to attend to today, and warned Mr. Hai not to cause trouble here, or else not to blame him for not giving face. Mr. Hai knew that, on the surface, Gao Qiang was a well-known entrepreneur in Shangdu, but he also had a wide network in the underworld, and many people under his command. Being on his bad side was not a good idea. Mr. Hai agreed with Gao Qiang, assuring him, "Rest assured I will not do anything," and offered to come to toast him later. Seeing Gao Qiang, Su Chen thought back to the previous apocalypse, when Gao Qiang was a major force in Shangdu, and the Hell's Chef was also under his wing. Suddenly, he remembered hearing that after the apocalypse, the Green City Hotel was the first place to experience atavistic mutations. Now, it seemed that Gao Qiang's ability to become a skull crusher was due to the early appearance of atavistic mutations here. Thinking this, Su Chen resolved, "In that case, sorry, your opportunity is mine now." Gao Qiang was surprised to see the interesting glare in Su Chen's eyes. After that, he went to meet Mr. Sun and told him that he had brought Miss Duan Ya as requested. Duan Ya wondered what Mr. Sun wanted to discuss with her. Mr. Sun explained that he had heard about Miss Duan being a great beauty and was pleased to finally meet her in person. He simply wanted to have a drink with her. Mr. Sun offered a drink to Duan Ya, but she was surprised and wondered if there was something fishy about his drink. Meanwhile, on the other side, Su Chen stood in front of a window, wine glass in hand, reflecting on his past life. He had hidden with Jiang Xiaoqian in a basement and barely survived the extreme heat apocalypse. He never expected that this time, after ditching her, she would end up following him here. Well, it's a good opportunity to settle old scores with her, he thought. Meanwhile, Wang Haoyu and his big brother were having fun in the swimming pool. Suddenly, Mr. Hai asked him, "Do you feel like it's hotter at night than during the day?" Wang Haoyu agreed, saying, "Yeah, that's why I suggested going to the pool to cool down. The girls will come out in swimsuits later." Just thinking about the girls made them really excited. Moments later, the girls also came, but they were really surprised to see how bright the moon was. "It's almost like the sun," they wondered, astonished at its unusual brightness. Because of this, Wang Haoyu started flirting with Xiaoqian, saying, "My love for you shines as brightly as the moon. This is the witness of our love." But Xiaoqian, feeling too hot, hurriedly asked him to take her to the pool. Meanwhile, Su Chen watched them from inside the hotel, laughing at them. "Your love is about to explode," he joked. He raised his glass of wine and toasted, "Welcome back to the apocalypse." Suddenly, the moonlight became really hot. Everyone was shocked and started running toward the hotel. They were really confused and wondered, why does the moonlight suddenly feel so hot? Now, they didn't have time to go to the pool, so they started running back to the hotel. People inside the hotel were also really surprised and wondered why it had suddenly become so bright outside. After seeing this, another man asked, "Will Brother Hai and the others be okay?" The other man replied, "They are just flirting with the girls. "You don't understand the boss's happiness," and asked him to relax. Everyone was surprised at how Wang Haoyu and the others were behaving and wondered, what are they doing? Why is their skin turning red? Wang Haoyu and the others are in great pain. Their entire bodies are burning. When Wang Haoyu spotted a fish tank filled with water, they started running toward it and finally found relief. However, Mr. Hai's men were really confused, wondering what they were doing. One of them asked Wang Haoyu where his big brother Hai was. Surprised by this question, Wang Haoyu realized he didn't know where his big brother was. Suddenly, they heard a voice calling for help. It was Mr. Hai, and his entire body was burned. Mr. Hai's men asked him if he was okay and got the burn cream to help him rest. Wang Haoyu begged his big brother for forgiveness, promising never to leave him again. Meanwhile, on the other side, Mr. Sun asked Miss Duan why she wasn't drinking. Gao Qiang told Mr. Sun that he had prepared a banquet and suggested they go there. However, Mr. Sun, unhappy, declared, "In Shangdu, nobody dares not to drink the wine I pour." He told Gao Qiang that it was none of his business and asked him not to interfere. Miss Duan realized that Gao Qiang, in trying to curry favor with Sun Debiao, had set her up. She knew Sun Debiao thought he was invincible in Shangdu, having harmed many women, and today he had targeted her. She suspected something was wrong with the drink and felt she absolutely couldn't drink it, but she wondered what she should do. Before she could decide, the moonlight became intensely bright, causing Mr. Sun and Gao Qiang extreme pain. They didn't know what was happening. They asked Miss Duan to quickly close the curtains because it was so hot outside. Gao Qiang noted that something seemed off, and Mr. Sun agreed, suggesting they go downstairs to see what was going on. After seeing this, Miss Duan breathed a sigh of relief. Downstairs, Manager Liu was trying to calm everyone down, explaining that they had contacted the rescue team and asked everyone to please wait here for rescue. However, the people were not listening to her, saying they had millions at stake every minute and couldn't waste time there. Gao Qiang asked Old Mao what was going on. Old Mao explained that the moon had suddenly brightened and the temperature had risen to about 70 degrees outside now, and the news reported that nearly 100 people were injured. Seeing the situation, Mr. Sun called Minister Zhao, explaining that he was stuck in the Green City Hotel and asking if he could send someone to pick him up. Gao Qiang asked Mr. Sun how Mr. Zhao was doing. Mr. Sun explained that right now, Mr. Zhao was working to ensure that there wouldn't be any power issues. Unfortunately, nobody was available to come over. Things were a bit tricky. Meanwhile, Wang Haoyu's big brother is in severe pain. His whole body is burning due to the high temperature, and he needs to go to the hospital. However, with it being so hot outside now, they are unsure how they will get to the hospital. Wang Haoyu's brother explains that he doesn't have to worry. He'll have Zhao Dao drive over to pick them up. So, he calls Zhao Dao, who is still in the underground garage. Zhao Dao tells Mr. Hai that it's really hot outside, so he asks them to wait there while he comes to pick them up. However, he is a little surprised after seeing that it is still bright outside at night and that the temperature is so high. But suddenly, his car tires blow out. He is shocked, wondering if this is for real. Did the heat blow out all the tires? What kind of crazy weather is this? So, he calls Brother Hai to explain that all 4 tires of the car blew out and that he can't get through now. He needs to go back and asks them to figure it out themselves. However, when he steps out of the trees, shadow. His shoes stick to the ground and he falls. Another man is lying on the ground beside him. Zhao Dao gets really surprised, and when he tries to stand, his skin starts melting like glue. Mr. Hai and the others are shocked after hearing Zhao Dao scream, wondering what happened to him. Meanwhile, Su Chen is sleeping in his room peacefully, unaffected by the outside temperature. The government announces that, due to the sudden release of intense heat from the moon, outdoor temperatures have risen to 75 degrees, with ground temperatures reaching 100 degrees. This event has already resulted in nearly 100 casualties. They urge everyone to stay indoors and avoid going outside to prevent skin and respiratory burns. Suddenly, due to the intense heat, the city power center collapses. Meanwhile, Mr. Hai realizes that Zhao Dao is no more, and all other rooms in the hotel are fully booked. This is the last room available, so they have to share it. However, Zhao Qian is not happy with this arrangement, wondering what kind of joke this is, and how she can share a room with a man. Nina also agrees with her, saying They need a separate room. But suddenly, the electricity goes out too. Mr. Hai wonders what the heck is going on with this place. Why is there no electricity? Because of that, the air conditioning stopped, and the indoor temperature is rising rapidly, probably over 40 degrees now. They'll suffocate if they stay here. They need to figure something out quickly. Suddenly, Xiaoqian remembers that Su Chen's presidential suite has a pool, so she suggests to Mr. Hai that they go and take it over from him. Meanwhile, Su Chen is enjoying himself, playing in his pool. In his last life, the city's electricity had hidden dangers due to improper maintenance. No matter how much manpower was invested, the city's electricity still exploded, but all users connected to the city's electricity were affected. That's why he specifically chose a room with a pool. He also prepared vertical air conditioners and large backup batteries to ensure room temperature. Let's add some ice as well. After changing his clothes, Su Chen sits on the sofa, gets some wine, and enjoys his life without worrying about the outside temperature. Suddenly, he started feeling hungry, so he used his resources and prepared some food, pondering that on the first day of the apocalypse, he might as well have a simple breakfast. He wondered when Chang's opportunity would show up, but suddenly his meal was interrupted by someone knocking on his door, asking him to open it. When he opened the door, cool air started coming out from his room. Mr. Hai was really surprised, wondering how Su Chen's room was so cool and how his air conditioning was working without electricity. Su Chen asked them if they needed something from him. Suddenly, Wang Haoyu noticed that there was ice in Su Chen's room. This room not only had a pool, but also electricity and food. Seeing this, Nina said to Su Chen, "We're all about to roast outside, and here you are, enjoying luxury?" Xiaoqian agreed with her, accusing him of being too selfish, and demanded that he leave his room now. Mr. Hai told Su Chen that since he had borrowed money from him, it was time to pay it back. He demanded that Su Chen give up the room to him, considering it as interest for these days, or else he would throw him out. But when Mr. Hai tried to enter Su Chen's room, Su Chen pulled a gun from his storage and shot Mr. Hai. Confused and in shock, Mr. Hai couldn't understand what had just happened. Su Chen warned everyone that if anyone took one more step forward, they would be dead. Everyone was really surprised, wondering how he had a gun and where he got it from. Mr. Hai, now really angry, conceded, "All right, you're tough. I give up." However, Su Chen didn't care. He shot Mr. Hai again in his leg. Mr. Hai started crying because of the pain. Su Chen told them to get lost, asking why they were wasting his time and if they wanted to die. He declared that he would count to 3, and if they didn't disappear from his sight, he would shoot everyone. He started counting. Meanwhile, on the ground floor, Gao Qiang asked manager Liu why their hotel had no food. Manager Liu apologized, explaining that a few days ago, someone booked 1,000 tables for a banquet, and because of that, they had almost run out of ingredients. The deliveries were scheduled for today. However, Mr. Sun didn't care. He demanded that manager Liu bring all the food and water up to him. After hearing this, other people started complaining, saying, "You're hoarding the bottled water, and now you want to hoard all the food too. Damn it. This is not giving us a chance to survive. Just because you have money doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. If you have money, why don't you leave? The water and food should be shared among everyone. Why should it all go to you?" Mr. Sun's man asked if anyone had a problem with that, stating that they would personally throw him out right now. But in Mr. Sun's eyes, they were just a bunch of useless people. He thought, "You dare to challenge me?" Wang Haoyu sought help from everyone, saying Su Chen has a gun, and he is killing people. Gao Qiang, after hearing this, realized, isn't that a gunshot wound? There aren't many people who can get their hands on a gun. It seems like there's a tough character living upstairs. Wang Haoyu asked his big brother Hai if he was okay. Meanwhile, Xiaoqian explained to everyone that Su Chen's room had electricity, air conditioning, and even a swimming pool. Everyone asked Xiaoqian if she was telling the truth. Xiaoqian confirmed that she saw it with her own eyes. There were even ice cubes, lots of food, fried chicken, and alcohol. It was like heaven there. After hearing this, everyone started heading towards Su Chen's room, complaining, "We are sweating like we're in a damn sauna here, and he's enjoying himself. Damn it, why does that kid get to have ice cubes and air conditioning while we suffer here?" Xiaoqian urged everyone, "Let's go up there and make that kid give up the ice cubes and air conditioning." Gao Qiang told his men to go up and figure out what to do, saying, "You don't need me to teach you, right?" They assured Gao Qiang that they knew what to do. Moments later, everyone was standing in front of Su Chen's room, asking to discuss something with him. However, they were really surprised when they felt cool air coming out from Su Chen's room. They started explaining that it was an emergency situation. In the whole hotel, only his room had air conditioning, and they asked if he could let them in to cool off for a bit, arguing that young people should learn to respect their elders and care for the young. Suddenly, one of the kids, after seeing Su Chen's fried chicken, started running toward it, saying he wanted to eat it. However, before he could enter Su Chen's room, Su Chen kicked him hard, sending him flying across to the other side. After seeing this, everyone was really shocked. Su Chen told them to control their kids, otherwise he didn't mind helping them manage them. Everyone was really angry with Su Chen, saying, "He's just a kid. How could he even think of hitting him? He's a murderer. Someone like him doesn't deserve to stay in this room." They started running towards Su Chen to kick him out of his room, saying he was alone, and they were many, and they asked everyone to charge. However, Su Chen got really angry, retrieved his gun from his storage, and shot one of Gao Qiang's men. Everyone was really shocked after seeing this. Gao Qiang's men became scared of Su Chen. Su Chen warned everyone, "I may be alone, but you only have one life." Meanwhile, Wang Haoyu was crying, asking everyone why they had left his big brother outside. Everyone tried to calm him down, explaining that Brother Hai had already died. His wound was already infected and rotting. With the high temperature and no medicine, Brother Hai couldn't hold on. After hearing this, Wang Haoyu became really angry, blaming everything on that bastard mother Su Chen, and vowed to get revenge. On the other side, Xiao Qian and Nina tried to seduce Su Chen, saying, "Brother Chen, I know you couldn't bear to shoot us. You were just scaring Wang Dahai." Xiao Qian asked him if he had forgotten how much she loved him, and pleaded with Su Chen to let them in, promising they would do anything he wanted, just to cool off a bit, and perhaps spend the night. After hearing this, Su Chen started smiling, saying, "Sisterly love sure runs deep," and invited them in. They were really happy, believing that Su Chen, being a good person, wouldn't abandon them. Suddenly, Wang Haoyu approached Su Chen, telling Xiao Qian and Nina to get out of the way because he was going to kill Su Chen. However, Su Chen warned them, saying, "Whoever walks through this door will die." After saying this, he grabbed a baseball bat from his storage and attacked Wang Haoyu, who fell on top of both women. After witnessing this horrible scene, both declared they were not going inside. Outside was just fine. Su Chen told them to get lost, warning that not leaving might just get them killed. Meanwhile, everyone saw a rescue team's vehicle arrive. The tires were modified into treads, and the windows were also insulated. It must be the rescue team's vehicle. Everyone got really excited, thinking they were definitely here to rescue them, and that they were saved now. A soldier came out from the car, asking everyone to step back and make way. They asked if Academician Liu Zhengguo was there. One of the men came forward and identified himself as Academician Liu. The soldier told him that they were the rescue team, and asked him to hurry up and put on the insulated suits and leave with them. However, everyone was really confused, wondering why they were only rescuing Academician Liu. "Aren't they here to rescue all of us? You can't just rescue him alone." The soldier asked everyone to calm down, explaining that the authorities had already launched a rescue operation, and that tonight, being the coldest time of the day, they could make their way to Silicon Valley Plaza on their own, which was the nearest rescue point. Everyone got really happy after hearing this, saying, "Really? There's a rescue operation by the authorities tomorrow morning. That's great. The authorities haven't completely abandoned us yet." However, suddenly Mr. Sun ran toward the soldier, saying he was Sun De Biao from Sun Group. He offered them 1 billion if they gave him the insulated suits and let him leave now. The soldier, however, didn't care. Academician Liu Zhengguo was their geological expert, playing an important role in this disaster, and asked Mr. Sun not to obstruct their operation. Mr. Sun, really angry, turned to Gao Qiang. "You useless guy! What have I kept you for? Go! Snatch the insulated suits for me." However, Gao Qiang didn't make a move, because the soldiers had guns, and any rash action could get him killed. Suddenly, Zhao Qian came to the soldiers, asking them to help, saying there was a murderer living upstairs. Everyone agreed with her, stating that the murderer had a gun and had killed several people. They absolutely cannot let that murderer go free. They have to do something. After hearing this, one of the soldiers said he would stay behind. However, another soldier disagreed with his decision, saying, "Xiao Feng, this is a special situation. Don't act impulsively." But he didn't listen, insisting, "I have discretion." So he asked the other soldiers to take the insulated suits with them first, and he would contact them after dealing with the situation. After that, he'd get the gun and start approaching upstairs, wondering to see Su Chen. Meanwhile, Xiao Qian is really excited, thinking after Su Chen is shot dead, she can stay in that room and wait for rescue. Meanwhile, soldier Xiao Feng reached the Su Qin room. However, he suddenly spot a camera inside of the pot. In the next moment, Su Qin opened his room door and throw a flash granite toward to Xiaofeng. Xiaofeng get really surprised, his eyes start hurting. When he was thinking about how to get rid of flash granite, Su Qin release tear gas. The situation get out of his hands. You don't have to another choice but to retreat quickly. However, before he retreat, Su Qin attack him from the behind, and he become unconscious. Moment later, when Xiaofeng start regaining his consciousness. Wonder where he is. It feels so cool here. He is in Su Chen room. Su Chen get his ID and start inspection him. His name is Lu Xiaofeng, and he is a deputy captain of the Special Forces. Su Chen. After seeing that, Xiaofeng is awake and asks him to let's talk. Xiaofeng is really surprised after seeing air conditioning, ice cubes in Su Chen room, wondering who are he exactly. And how did he get the gun and flash grenades? Su Chen. Explain that he is just a recent graduate. The kun and everything else, he picked them up during a trip to the Middle East. Xiaofeng doesn't believe him, asking if he is kidding with him. However, Sai Chen doesn't care, saying if you don't believe me, there's nothing I can do. However, he is really curious and asks Xiaofeng, has the government set up rescue points zones for citizens to go to tomorrow morning? Xiaofeng get really shocked, wondering how did he know about that. Su Chen, after seeing his experience, realized that he know about it just like in his previous life. Even though the temperature drops significantly in the early morning, staying exposed to the moonlight for more than 10 minutes can still lead to fainting. Many people will die on the way to the rescue. Xiaofeng explained that there's no other way. Although they've established safe zones, modifying rescue vehicles is difficult. Many people can't hold on any longer, so they have no choice but to let residents go to the rescue points on their own tomorrow morning. In fact, thick blankets and heavy coats can also help isolate the temperature. As long as they don't fall down, it should increase the survival rate. After hearing this, Su Qin asked if Xiaofeng was telling the truth. Xiaofeng replied, yeah, of course. However, Su Chen, unconvinced, pointed his gun at Xiaofeng. Seeing this, Xiaofeng asked Su Chen to wait a moment, inquiring if he could tell others about using thick blankets before he was killed, and explaining that he would just use the walkie-talkie without calling for backup. Su Chen then free him, saying that he respected what Xiaofeng was doing, so he wouldn't kill him this time, but he wouldn't tolerate any further provocations. Xiaofeng then asked Su Chen if he wasn't afraid that he would call for backup to deal with him once he left. Su Chen, smiling, asked him to look up and see what was there. Xiaofeng was shocked to see a surveillance turret equipped with facial recognition cameras and machine guns. He asked Su Chen where he got something like this. Su Chen replied that he had told him before. He got it from the Middle East. Once this thing activates, no one in this room except me will survive. But in this situation, you probably don't have the time to deal with me either. Xiaofeng said that he understood and left. Everyone was really surprised to see that the soldier just left like that. He only mentioned the blanket and didn't say anything about what happened upstairs. Didn't you see? The soldiers' guns were all confiscated. Is Su Chen really that powerful? Even a soldier couldn't handle him. Meanwhile, Mr. Sun was really frustrated and angry. He slapped Gao Qiang, asking, what the hell do I keep you for? Why didn't you act just now, you bunch of useless idiots, and told them to get lost? One of Gao Qiang's men asked how long they had to tolerate him. Gao Qiang replied that the authorities had started the rescue operation, and once order was restored, they would still need to leverage his connections. But suddenly, Su Chen commented on Gao Qiang's thought, saying, in times of chaos, Gao Qiang still dreams of restoring order. This made Gao Qiang's man angry, asking Su Chen where he came from and threatening to kill him. Gao Qiang told his man to hold on, and asked Su Chen why he had come downstairs. Su Chen replied that he was here to make a deal with Boss Gao, offering ice cubes to Gao Qiang. Seeing the ice cubes, Gao Qiang's man goes crazy, saying, Big brother, there must be more good stuff in Su Chen's room. Let's kill him and take all his stuff. Well, thugs are always thugs, but Su Chen is the biggest thug there. He points the gun he got from Xiaofeng at Gao Qiang's man, scaring the hell out of him. Gao Qiang, who has the same thought as his man, also gets scared after seeing the gun. He says, Su Chen, my friend, don't bother with him. Let's talk about the deal. At the end of the deal, Gao Qiang and his man get to enjoy the ice cubes that Su Chen gives them. While eating, the ice curly-haired underling of Gao Qiang says that he has been stuck here for 3 days, and this is the first time he has felt so good. He can't even imagine what's in Su Chen's room. Gao Qiang decides to agree to Su Chen's demands first, then find an opportunity to kill him. The room will be theirs. Suddenly, Mr. Sun kicks Gao Qiang, shouting, "You sneaky bastard! How dare you hide ice cubes?" He continues kicking Gao Qiang, saying that next time, if he doesn't voluntarily bring out the good stuff, he is dead meat. This humiliation makes Gao Qiang very angry, but Mr. Sun doesn't care. He eats the ice cubes, saying, "This is so damn awesome. We've also run out of instant noodles. Without rescue, we'll starve to death for sure." While talking, he notices Duan Ya sitting in the corner. He says, "Despite the heat, Duan Ya, you still refuse to take off your clothes. Quite modest of you." But he forcefully grabs Duan Ya's hand, saying he likes playing with someone like her. Since he is in the mood, he asks her to come with him. Duan Ya punches Mr. Sun, shouting, "You bastard! Don't touch me!" This makes Mr. Sun very angry, so he tears apart Duan Ya's clothes, saying, "You filthy bitch! Then I'll have my way with you right here, and everyone can have a taste later." Duan Ya covers herself, and Mr. Sun starts laughing at her, saying, "You're all soaked. Aren't you feeling hot already? Then let me do you a favor and take it all off for you." "Enough is enough." Angry, Gao Qiang said from behind, "Mr. Sun de Biao, that's enough." This made Mr. Sun very angry. He turned around shouting, "Shut your mouth, Gao Qiang. I'm giving you face. Do you even know who you're talking to?" Suddenly, Gao Qiang stabbed Mr. Sun in the neck with a knife. People started to scream that someone had been killed. After killing Mr. Sun, Gao Qiang said, "Su Chen is right. It's already chaos, so Mr. Sun might as well die along with it." He told everyone that now this place was under his command. Everyone else either goes to the rescue point or dies here. Duan Ya was very scared to see what had happened, but someone who planned all this was enjoying the show. Su Chen, watching from upstairs, happened to see that his words were effective. "Since Duan Ya was the boss here in her past life, if I accelerate the process of this matter, will her opportunity come earlier as well?" Meanwhile, Xiaoqian and Nina were begging Gao Qiang, saying, "Give it to me, strong brother. I want it." Nina said that she would do anything for him. Gao Qiang first drank the ice water, then threw the remaining at Xiaoqian and Nina, telling them that since they wanted ice water, then follow him. He would have them do whatever he wanted. Getting the ice water, both of them started to fight like children. The curly-haired man asked Gao Qiang if they were not going to the rescue point. Gao Qiang said that now it's Doomsday. If they want to survive, they have to rely on themselves, and the rescue point is a kilometer away. It's not certain if they can even make it there alive. Then, the curly-haired man asked him why they were still taking these few freeloaders when they are low on supplies. He was talking about Xiaoqian and Nina. Gao Qiang told him that it's Su Chen who is planning to keep these few people, and it just happens that they need a few cannon fodders too. Then, at midnight at 12 o'clock, Xiaoqian and Nina, covering themselves with a thick blanket, got ready to finally leave this place. Nina said that they had only got a little bit of snacks these 2 days. When they get to the rescue point, she is going to eat meat and drink cola. However, before they could go out, Gao Qiang's underling snatched Xiaoqian's blanket. Angry, Xiaoqian asks what he is doing. The curly-haired man asks Xiaoqian what she is doing. He gave her all the ice water, and now she wants to leave. Isn't that unfair? Besides, didn't she say she would do anything? Then just hang out with me for a while. Saying that, the curly-haired guy starts ripping her clothes. Meanwhile, the people who left the hotel to go to the rescue center were very thirsty. They were angry because Gao Qiang took control of the supplies. They haven't been given any water or food. Staying in the hotel is like being thirsty to death, but going to the rescue point might still offer a slim chance of survival, hoping that they all continue walking, but it's even hotter outside than they imagined. Even with boards tied to the soles of their shoes, they can still feel the heat from the ground. While walking, an old woman sleeps and falls on the ground. Her skin starts to melt like wax, and she screams in pain, asking for help. But no one stops to help her and continues walking. At a time like this, not knowing if one can survive themselves, who has the time to worry about others? Even if it's family or loved ones that fall, in an apocalypse, everyone's focus is on surviving first. On the other hand, Mr. Sun and Wang Dehai's dead bodies that were lying outside and burning in the moonlight suddenly opened their eyes and woke up. Su Chen was watching people going towards the rescue points. He remembers that in his previous life, he went to the rescue point like them, but at that time, no one reminded him to bring a blanket. Even though it was only a short kilometer, he doesn't know how many lives were sacrificed. On the other hand, Xiaoqian was screaming, while Gao Qiang's underling was trying to get their way with her. Xiaoqian said, "Big brother, why don't we go to the room and have some fun instead of staying here?" Nina said, "Yeah, we'll go along with you." The curly-haired guy laughs, asking if the two sluts are getting shy now. What's there to be afraid of here? But suddenly, Mr. Sun and Wang Dahai's turned into zombies, break the door, and enter. Everyone was too shocked to see it and started running away from there. Wang Haoyu was very scared, asking, "Will they turn into zombies if it bites them?" Gao Qiang grabbed him by the neck, saying, "Why don't you go and find out?" He put Wang Haoyu in front of Mr. Sun's zombie, who was approaching them. Wang Haoyu screamed, saying, "It's so hot, it's so hot." The curly-haired boy asked Gao Qiang if he was okay. Gao Qiang responded that Mr. Sun's body temperature is very high. But suddenly our protagonist comes there, asking everyone to move aside. He was holding a sword and dealt with these fire zombies. The curly-haired underling was surprised, asking if Su Chen wanted to deal with those things. Seeing this, Gao Qiang became happy, saying they would let Su Chen kill them, and then they would kill him. Su Chen knows that in the apocalypse, corpses exposed to sunlight will mutate, but they're not zombies and won't spread the virus. They are more like the drought demons described in the Classic of Mountains and Seas, a Chinese mythological creatures book. So Su Chen also refers to them as drought demons. They start approaching Su Chen. However, Su Chen knows that these drought demons actually retain some memories or attachments from their previous lives. He wonders if, in his previous life, it's likely that Gao Qiang killed Mr. Sun, which led him to hold on to the desire for revenge against Gao Qiang and become the first drought demon. And Wang Dahai became another drought demon because he killed him. Wang Dahai tries to attack Su Chen. However, he dodges. Ignoring Wang Dahai, Su Chen starts running toward Mr. Sun so he can get Gao Qiang's opportunity. He attacks Mr. Sun with his full power and kills him. After killing him, suddenly a purple stone appears from his body. This is the crystal nucleus that can bring about superhuman physique. Su Chen grabs that purple stone, saying, "Now it belongs to me." However, suddenly, Wang Dahai tries to attack Su Chen from behind. Su Chen jumps into the air and dodges his attack, but Su Chen takes advantage of the opportunity and sends her towards Gao Qiang and his men. After that, he goes towards his room, saying to them, "You guys have fun." Gao Qiang gets really angry after seeing this. He is really frustrated, so he grabs Wang Haoyu by the neck, saying, "You useless trash! Get up!" After that, he throws Wang Haoyu toward Wang Dahai so he can save himself. He asks his men to grab the weapon and kill him. Meanwhile, in Su Chen's room, he tries to eat that purple stone he got from Mr. Sun's body. He puts the purple stone in a glass and adds some wine on top. In the apocalypse, occasionally, crystal nuclei like these appear in the skulls of drought demons and mutant beasts. These nuclei are extremely rare, perhaps not even 1 in 100. To eat this crystal, you have to clean the crystal nucleus thoroughly, then swallow it directly. Just by doing that, the body can absorb the energy from the crystal nucleus. After that, he swallows it directly. After swallowing this, his eyes start glowing red, his body starts burning like fire, and his clothes are torn into pieces. To control his body temperature, he gets the ice block from his storage and lays down on top of it. Meanwhile, on the ground floor, Gao Qiang successfully kills Wang Dahai. However, because of this, the water bottle gets destroyed, and this is their last water source. And now it's all gone. But seeing this opportunity, Nina tries to escape. However, Gao Qiang's man sees her and catches her, saying, "You damn woman trying to run! If you move, I'll chop off your legs." Nina replies that without water, they will all die of thirst. She can tell them a way to deal with Su Chen if they let her go to the rescue point. Gao Qiang's man asks her to speak quickly. However, he warns her that if she tries to trick them, she will be dead. Nina explains that Zhang Xiaoqian is Su Chen's fiancé. If they attack her at Su Chen's doorstep, he'll definitely open the door, and then they can ambush him. Gao Qiang's man starts laughing after hearing this, saying, "I can't believe there's such a thing. It's indeed a good plan." However, Zhao Qian is really shocked to see that her best friend can do this. However, she doesn't care. She says that she can cooperate with them, but she is hungry, and they have to give her food first, and she wants to eat meat. Gao Qiang's man gets really surprised after hearing this, saying, "Want meat? The meat in the electric fridge has already been spoiled, and you still want meat." Gao Qiang, after seeing this, asks Xiao Qian if she really wants to eat meat. So he gives her a knife and says, "That's up to you." Xiao Qian is surprised after asking Gao Qiang if he means her flesh. However, she doesn't care. She takes the knife from Gao Qiang's hand and starts approaching Nina. Nina, after seeing this, asks her, "What are you planning?" What do you mean? Don't come near me. Qian, Xiao Qian, we're sisters. You can't do this. However, Xiao Qian doesn't care, saying, don't deceive yourself. Are we really sisters? And besides, just now, you even suggested using me as bait. She asks her not to blame her. If she wants to blame someone, blame herself. After that, she steps on her stomach multiple times with the knife and kills her. Gao Qiang and his men are really surprised after seeing this. After killing Nina, Xiao Qian starts laughing, saying, Su Chen, once I'm full, I'll come up and drink your blood. Gao Qiang asks his men to let Duan Ya cook the meat. They need to eat well to have the strength to deal with Su Chen. Without water, they won't last a day. He warns his men that if they don't want to turn into a dry corpse, they better do as he says. After hearing this, the long, black-haired man asks the other man to find out where Duan Ya is and get her here. Meanwhile, at Su Chen's room, he successfully consumes the purple crystal. After consuming the purple crystal, he gets the physique-type ability. Because of that, his heat resistance has improved. His muscles and strength have also increased. However, suddenly, he hears a knocking on the door. When he sees that through his CCTV camera, he is really surprised to see Miss Duan Ya. She has come here to ask for help from Su Chen because everyone is going crazy like Gao Qiang. Downstairs is no longer safe. This is her only hope. Luckily, she still has some leverage. Su Chen opens the door and asks her if everything is okay. However, she gets really embarrassed after seeing Su Chen without clothes, saying he is a scoundrel. Su Chen apologizes, explaining that it was an accident. Miss Duan Ya asks Su Chen if she can stay with him because downstairs is in really bad shape, and she no longer feels safe there. Su Chen replies that his resources are limited, and they only just met. He can't just take her in because she is pretty. Based on his knowledge from his previous life, Duan Ya is a very strong-willed woman, and she had a cooperative relationship with Gao Qiang. Although he considered subduing her, the atmosphere is a bit awkward now. Miss Duan Ya explains that she is not only a chef, but also an outstanding graduate from Southwest Medical University, with a medical qualification certificate and 3 years of experience as a surgeon. But she gets really surprised after seeing Su Chen's room, thinking, wow, the room is so well equipped. No, it's not the room, it's the ice and electricity. She wonders if she has to show her worth to stay here. After hearing this, Su Chen replies, saying that the fact that she's a doctor is indeed very enticing, but resources are scarce now, and it's uncertain if they can survive until tomorrow. Duan Ya is surprised, and asks Su Chen, as long as he doesn't kick her out of the building, she'll do anything. After hearing this, Su Chen starts smiling, saying, since Miss Duan has spoken, just consider this place your own home. Duan Ya realizes that she spoke too hastily. It is already too late. Su Chen warns her, saying her only choice in front of him is to behave herself. Don't have any ulterior motives or else I will kick you out from here. Duan Ya, after hearing this, says she understands. She never doubts his methods and determination. After explaining this, Su Chen asks Miss Duan Ya to take off her clothes. Miss Duan Ya gets really shocked and starts feeling embarrassed, asking if now, is it time to start? A moment later, Miss Duan Ya starts taking a shower. She is really surprised to see the water, electricity, food, and even the ability to take a shower. No need to worry about the scorching weather, no need to worry about being eaten by others, and no need to worry about being... For those outside, this place is simply heaven. However, she knows that this Su Chen isn't exactly a saint either. A while ago, before she started taking a shower, Su Chen said to her that he'll give her something different to eat. She knows what Su Chen is talking about, but she says, forget it. Anyway, I considered this before coming up. Meanwhile, Su Chen is watching Miss Duan Ya taking a bath. However, he is doing this not to peek, just to prevent her from doing anything improper. A moment later, after Miss Duan Ya comes out, after taking a bath, she says to Su Chen that the outfit he gave her is too small, and she is not feeling comfortable with it. Su Chen assures her, saying, this is not small. You are looking really gorgeous in this outfit. After hearing this, Miss Duan Ya asks if he is telling the truth. However, suddenly someone starts knocking on Su Chen's door, asking, Su Chen, open the door, come out and save her. They are Xiao Qian and Gao Qiang. They are acting to lure Su Chen from his room. Gao Qiang warns Su Chen, if he doesn't come out soon, he'll break down the door. when Su Chen starts going toward the door to open it. Miss Duanya stops him, saying they can't open the door. Those people have already eaten Lena. If they open the door, they will also get killed. Su Chen is surprised, and confirms with Miss Duanya if she means they eat someone. However, he doesn't care. He opens the door and says to them, "Don't be so quick to break down the door. It's going to be troublesome if it's damaged." Xiao Qian asks Su Chen to save her from Gao Qiang. Gao Qiang and his men were really happy to see Su Chen finally coming out from his room. One of them was hiding behind Su Chen's room door to make a surprise attack. When Su Chen opened the door, they attacked him. They intended to kill him that day, but Su Chen caught the attacker's hand and killed him with his own knife. Gao Qiang and the others were shocked to see that. Meanwhile, Xiao Qian freed herself from Gao Qiang and started running towards Su Chen for help. However, Su Chen grabbed her by the neck and said, "Once you've eaten human flesh, your body will mutate and fangs will grow in your mouth. Right now, you're no longer human." Gao Qiang replied, "It's the end of the world anyway. What does it matter if we eat people as long as we can survive?" Zhao Qian started laughing, saying, "The meat is so delicious. After eating, my body is filled with strength. Su Chen, I can't wait to taste your flavor." After saying this, she attacked Su Chen, but he kicked her really hard, sending her flying across to the other side. Su Chen hit her so hard that she fell out of the hotel, but luckily she managed to hold onto the corner of the window before she fell. She was really angry, saying, "Su Chen, I won't let you off so easily." However, outside, the temperature was 86 degrees Celsius, and her whole body started burning. She started shouting loudly for help. Meanwhile, inside, Gao Qiang asked his men to attack Su Chen together, and not give him a chance to draw his gun. They started running towards Su Chen to attack him. Su Chen didn't care, saying, "I don't need to waste bullets on you guys." Gao Qiang, after hearing this, said, "Young man, don't underestimate me too much." However, Su Chen said that he liked wasting bullets and shot one of Gao Qiang's men. Gao Qiang asked his men to spread out and attack Su Chen from all sides. Su Chen shot again, but they dodged it. One of Gao Qiang's men started laughing, saying, "We're not just stronger now. Even our reactions and speed have improved. In a situation where you're on guard, you can't even hit us." He tried to launch a surprise attack on Su Chen. However, Su Chen had already figured this out. He jumped into the air, grabbed the man's head, and smashed him into the ground. Meanwhile, the others took this opportunity to try to attack Su Chen with knives. However, Su Chen grabbed their hands, snatched the knives, and killed them. Gao Qiang, frustrated and angry, attacked Su Chen, but Su Chen grabbed him and smashed him into the wall. Suddenly, he noticed something at the window. It was Xiao Qian. She had mutated into a drought demon and jumped in through the window. Su Chen was surprised to see her like that, mutating so quickly into this state. It seemed like her attachment was quite deep. He snapped Gao Qiang's neck and said to Xiao Qian, "Since you won't disappear, I'll just kill you again." Xiao Qian roared and attacked Su Chen. Meanwhile, Miss Duanya was really surprised to see that Su Chen was amazing. He single-handedly took down the whole gang of Gao Qiang, but that monster gave off a very dangerous feeling. She wondered that she had to think of a way to help him. If she wanted to stay by Su Chen's side, she couldn't become a burden to him. But suddenly, she noticed something and called Su Chen, asking, "Let me help you defeat that monster." Su Chen was really surprised to see her, saying, "Not being scared and hiding is good, but you're only going to distract me like this." After hearing this, Miss Duanya started blushing, asking what he meant. Meanwhile, Xiao Qian roared really loudly and started running towards Su Chen to attack him. She successfully landed a powerful blow on Su Chen. Miss Duanya was really shocked to see that, wondering if Su Chen was okay. However, Su Chen activated his superpower, Berserker Mode, in time and countered her attack. Xiao Qian was really shocked after seeing that her attack didn't work on Su Chen, so without wasting any time, she got behind Su Chen to attack him again. She opened her mouth and attacked Su Chen with her sharp fangs. However, she was really shocked after seeing that her sharp fangs couldn't tear Su Chen's skin. Su Chen asked her, "Can't bite? Are those fangs just for show?" and said, "It's my turn now." So he grabbed Xiao Qian's hands, jumped back, then placed his leg on Xiao Qian's waist and asked her if she was ready. After that, he broke her hands and smashed her into the ground. Xiao Qian starts crying because of the pain. Su Chen says that he had planned to let her suffer more in the apocalypse, slowly tortured to death, but now he has to kill her earlier. Suddenly, he notices that Xiao Qian gets one of Gao Qiang's men's bodies. and starts eating it. After eating the human body, she regenerates her broken hands. Su Chen is surprised to see that, wondering how she can regenerate severed limbs. Miss Duanya also gets really shocked, wondering how that is possible. Su Chen starts laughing after seeing this, saying, "That's great." Miss Duanya is confused, wondering what he means. Su Chen says that if she can regenerate, then it means she is not so easy to kill after all. It also means he can tear her apart many times over. So he runs towards Xiaoqian, grabs her hand and asks, "Let me see just how many times your body can regenerate. Let's start with the left hand." He grabs her left hand and breaks it. She starts screaming in pain. Next, he grabs her right hand and breaks it. She screams more loudly. Then, he grabs her tail and both legs and breaks them. After seeing her, he starts smiling, saying, "Just now was the first round." Xiaoqian regenerates all her broken parts. Su Chen smiles and asks, "Are you ready? The second round is starting soon." He starts breaking all her limbs again. Miss Duanya is really surprised to see that. However, Su Chen doesn't stop there. He starts the third round, fourth, fifth, eighth round. Not just limbs, even eyes, tongue can regenerate. 16th round, internal organs can regenerate too. It seems like, except for the head, everything else can regenerate. But why couldn't it regenerate after 21 times? He was planning to gouge out the eyes, but let it be. After all, he is not a devil. Xiaoqian starts crying, asking Su Chen why he is doing this to her. What's the reason for doing this to her? Su Chen replies, saying, "You ask why? For revenge." In his previous life, he helped Xiaoqian do everything he could to save her in the apocalypse world, even giving her his share of food so she could survive. But what did he get in exchange? Betrayal. She killed him and slept with another man in front of his dead body. After that, he crushed her head and killed her. Duanya asks Su Chen if he is okay. Su Chen turns his head toward Duanya and asks her if she is ready. Duanya is confused and asks what he means. He comes close to Duanya, grabs her from behind and says, "I was so heroic just now. Shouldn't you be ready to reward me?" Duanya starts blushing, saying, "Reward? Here, in this place."